Hello, friends. Heck of a time. We are truly being challenged in a remarkable way. And there's enormous opportunity in it, which is what I want to focus on. First of all, we all understand what you're immediately experiencing, and it's worldwide, and it's in your families, it's in your friends, it's in with everyone you're communicating with, that uncertainty plus a disruption of our familiar routines creates fear. And part of the reason it creates fear is because the future, as we have taken it for granted in so many ways, has been stolen, pulled out, the carpet's been pulled out from under us. So this is a time where you get to see where you are grounded in yourself, where the roots go down in yourself, and to work on planting those roots deeper in the ground that isn't dependent on circumstances, but is actually dependent on your capacity for a relationship with the circumstances. So it's a time for your spiritual practice. It's a time for getting out the guitar you haven't played and starting to play it again, or playing it some more, or your keyboard. It's a time for the knitting. It's a time for generative, creative, meditative things that you can do. There's a basic thing I learned a long, long time ago, and some friends of mine call it Moss's Law, and it's simple. Energy that isn't used gets morbid. And what it means simply is obvious. You have to use your energy. And if your energy is moving through you, then it won't matter that you're maybe stuck in your house or your apartment more than you're used to. It won't matter as much. You'll begin to find that when your natural deep source energy is moving in you, because it's activated by your practice, you can be using a yoga pad in front of a good yoga teacher and just following it on the internet. There's so many ways you can play with this. You can do a new exercise regimen. It's almost limitless. But what you have to do is realize you need to use the energy. And there's one other thing that I want to say. About 30 years ago, I took 6 weeks alone by myself in a little cabin overlooking the Pacific Ocean. No telephone, no talking. I saw no one except when I bought groceries, kind of like our situation now. And what I learned was that this is going to go in waves. I suspect, with my background in medicine, that we are not going to be done with this in just 2 weeks of sheltering at home and the suppressive strategy that's absolutely necessary and that we're in now, and it would have been great if we could have started it earlier. But we're in it. We're in it now, and it's going to last longer than we think. And there's going to be levels of it as it changes. And so the constant unpredictability is still going to be with you there. And if it goes longer than we think, what I learned from my retreat is simple, that there are waves, that you're going to have to find a new ground in yourself again, and then a week later again, maybe a few days, maybe 10 days later again, for however long this goes. And when we come out the other side of this, if all of us have had an opportunity to deepen, put our roots down in ourselves, we're going to begin to really feel it in ourselves what really matters and the very foundations of what a life well lived is. And it's going to be happening because we're talking over the phone, we're talking over the web-based forms of communication, and now we can really listen to each other. It's not just idle socializing, it's a socializing when we're sharing a similar kind of fate, and we're in this all together, and we're showing ourselves that we're really, really in a wonderful, wonderful time of getting to realize the interconnectedness of all of us, globally interconnected, and that there is a real lack of resiliency in our economic system. And while it's never going to be easy to change that, when we emerge, if we have put our roots deeper into ourselves, then that deepening of our roots is actually a way that we will engage life in a more balanced way. And in that more balanced way, that produces a new future. And I'm just hoping that we don't forget too quickly when this is past, that we let this be a true inflection point, an evolutionary inflection point for the human species. And the human species is a great global image, but the fact is the human species is you and me. And we through deepening in ourselves, become a radiance that actually stabilizes everybody's experience of themselves. You are contributing by deepening in yourself in a time like this to stability in everyone. And it's not just stability. It's a healthy, healing stability. It's a new sense of opportunity and optimism about what it is to be a human being, what this miracle of consciousness is, and how much we've taken for granted, and how patterned we've become, and how locked in our patterns we've become. Now we have an opportunity to see that we aren't dependent on so many of those patterns, that truly what we have the opportunity to do is re-enter as we emerge from this crisis, this transformational time, from a deeper place in ourselves. And that's the opportunity. And so if you see it that way, and you get up each day and you say to yourself, how do I let my energy move today? Oh, I'm noticing my mind getting worried. It's going into the future, which automatically creates either hope or fear. And the hope is not going to have any foundation. Not really. It's just going to be the mind's form of hope. And the fear will not have any real ground either, but it will absorb you and it'll affect your behavior. You say to yourself, no, I got to get my energy flowing within the confines of my apartment. How can I do that? And all of those generative, creative, playful ways that I've just talked about. Read some poetry, write some poetry, sing, put music on and sing to it. Get that energy moving, and afterwards you'll say, oh, that's a really interesting stillness here. Two of my friends 2 weeks ago were diagnosed with the coronavirus. They're 73 and 70, almost 78 years old. And they've come through it really, really well. And one of the things they said to me is, wow, we never realized what social creatures we are. And of course, we've been in contact with our children and close friends, but we've been home in our small apartment. And now we're discovering this silence, this presence. And we realize it's always been there, but we weren't feeling it. We weren't tuning into it. We weren't dropping into it. So drop in. Put your roots in deep as you realize you're dropping in. Don't keep getting activated by reading the news, because nothing's going to change very much from day to day. Check it out periodically. Don't let it become a fascination, because it's emphasizing fear. What you need to know is that you're doing what you can do, which is stay away from other people. And that's the contribution you can make at a practical level at a time of a pandemic. The deeper contribution you can make is where you journey in yourself. What an opportunity. We're all in it together. Sending you blessings, blessings, blessings.